Hey, welcome back to the City Dispatch video reviews. This is SpacerGal here with the Snowman this time. We're bringing you a review of Terraclips from WorldWorks Games and Weird Miniatures. Now, originally designed for Malifaux, this is a modular terrain set. Comes in 3 different styles. The Buildings of Malifaux, which is the one that we got the chance to pick up and review. There's also the Sewers of Malifaux and the Streets of Malifaux. Now, all of these sets are going to be comprised of cardboard pieces, making up floors, walls, roofing, some doors. Malifaux-specific tokens come in there for some scenarios to run in these, which is fantastic. A nice extra feature to not have to use gems or whatever we all have laying around for Malifaux. One of the key things for us here at the Dispatch was the amount of content that this box was going to come with. Because as you can see, this is a skinny box, and for $49.99, we were a little worried that it was going to be kind of chintzy. But that building on the cover, you can actually do that with one set. That's not 2 sets as some crazy artist rendering. As you can see, we've got a couple little first-story buildings, a multi-layer one over here with some miniatures for scale, and we've still got all these leftover parts, all these leftover clips. So if we want to expand on this, we could. We sorted in the bags to make life easier because this is a lot of small components that start to look alike when you're trying to dig through them looking for specific things. But we've got all the different roofing styles with some corners for some inner lattice work. And one of the things here, while we're on roofing, to point out will be that they are double-sided depending on what you want them to look like. The floor panels do the same thing. You can see here we've got a stone and a wood style. Pretty cool for either doing an outdoor central area to multiple houses, or maybe you're going for more like the giant manor home, so the foyer is going to be this stone material but the rest of it's going to be wood. Either way, great addition. Love the dual-sided. Now let's take a look at how modular this is. Here we've got our kind of bigger structure that we did and some miniatures for scale. As you can see, we've got some doorways here that, if not for her base, she would slide right through, no problem. But the roof balances perfectly on there. If we take that off, we see a little inside, a little staircase. We can take that layer off. Now we've got this lower area with the stairs, some basement style facilities. We can pull that off, and look at this. Now in here you can really see, while we got this close up, you get an idea of all of the textures in here. This isn't really plain terrain. It's got some really cool detail. Looks like it's the Malifaux world, that very Victorian but very worn down look. We were hoping to be a little more Western Malifaux rather than this kind of guild style. Still sweet. We've got swinging doors that we can open and close for different scenarios, little hidden rooms, and this is all with one set. This is not multiple. So if we add to this, it's just going to get nuts. Also, don't know if you noticed, but if we come in here, it is kind of a built-in grid if you take a look. So if you don't have a ruler or don't want to jam one in there and you lay this out, they'll actually fit nicely with the blocks. Also works on the wood style. You can see here some of these kind of hidden lines throughout so that you can move around without having to try to finagle a tape measure into that room. Great feature to tie in, especially if you're using this like we do for some roleplay elements, because we don't want to have to be messing around with rulers for Pathfinder. One of the cooler features, other than the working staircases inside, was the working ladder. This was a standout piece for us. Miniatures can fit in there. The standard 30mm bases will play nice, hook in. You can really dig into some movement rules, some falling rules with this stuff. So very awesome. One more thing, we did like how fast it is to put these together and how easy it is to take them apart. Obviously you saw us unstacking it. Well, that's fantastic for, mid-game. But what about when you're done and you don't want this hogging up your garage like the rest of your real terrain? Well, that's the nice thing. All of these buildings you see here were 2 people working for maybe a half an hour tops. And these are pretty snazzy. I wouldn't say they're too simple, but they're also not super complex like the box. But still very easy. Let's take this piece here, and we can just, since we conserved clips here, we can pull, no problem. All comes apart. Look at that. Goes back into the Ziploc bag. goes in your box, and you're done. Super easy to store, super easy to clean, fast to put together. So even if your friend comes over and says, hey, check out this cool scenario I found on the website, you can slam it out with this and not have to worry about messing up anything long term. It runs you $49.99 for the set. To build all these little cardboard pieces, though, you're going to have to pick up the Terraclips, the actual name of the product here. This is going to be $17.99 for 40 of each style clip. Now the clips come in an L, an I, and a T. And I'm sure if you watch some of the construction videos that they've put out, you'll see some very complex shapes and things, putting these to the best use they can possibly be. With what we built, which you've had a chance to see now, this is what we were left with. There's a huge shortage of the L clips. These are not sold individually. If you want more, you have to buy an entire box. This is arguably, next to the price, our largest negative. Tons of these little T-clips, and don't get me wrong, if you're getting fancy, these are the way to go. I mean, you can do all kinds of cool stuff with this, like the balconies, into the walls, into the floors. Great style. You can do some neat things with the roofs with it, like attaching chimneys. But for simple terrain, when we're not getting crazy and making the Star Theater, we would really like more L pieces, maybe even a handful more I pieces. So hopefully in the future we'll see some individual bags.
Yeah. L pieces are definitely the major shortage. It is pretty easy once you start thinking outside of the box to start incorporating especially the T pieces in, adding in smaller rooms, things such as that, and really give you a lot of options that you don't necessarily think of right away. I know when we first started doing this, we were doing a lot with just the L's, and we were like, okay, there are no L's left. And then it was kind of like, wait, no, I can just do this and add a wall and add this. So it kind of forces you to think outside of the box. Plus, when you add in the doorways, you're probably going to be using the eye pieces like this one right here. So that's kind of handy. Frees up a little bit of space there as well. So definitely, like Spacer said, that is the one drawback that hopefully will be addressed in the future.
Hope this has convinced you to take a look at Terraclips. We will catch up with you in the future. This has been Spacer with Snowman behind the camera, and we'll see you next time here at City Dispatch.